Hi everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm really glad that you did. My name is Jana Kay, and in this video, Leave It to Stitches to help me realize that magic circle really is magic. Yep, you heard me right. I really do think magic circle is magic. Ever since I learned it, I use it so much. I use it in shawls. I use it uh, for doilies, different kinds, for hats, and obviously for granny squares. I use Magic Circle so much since I have learned to use it, and I am really grateful that I did learn how to use it. Now, is it the only option for me? Obviously not. So here's why I think it is good to know how to do the Magic Circle. Magic ring, cinch circle, magic loop, even though that's more of a knitting term, whatever you want to call it. Let me give you a couple of reasons why. First of all, choices. We all love choices. If you've ever been to the grocery store, down the cereal aisle, the cookie aisle, the cracker aisle, the drink aisle, whatever it is, we love choices. And uh, even in our crafting, when we see a pattern and the pictures show that the designer has done it in several colors or a certain color, and we might like that color, but we might want to choose our own color or our own fiber. Even in our crafting, we love to have choices. And when we have choices, we get to choose what is best for us and what we like and enjoy to do, but what is also best for the project that we're doing, the yarn that we're using, and so forth. So, because I know both, I can pick and choose what I want to use or what is best for a project. Now, I will say that since learning it, Magic Circle is my preferred method. But the chain method, like chaining 2 or 3, 4, 5, however many it is also a great method to know. In fact, it's the first one that I ever used. Both have their pros and cons. And therefore, I have, even though I know Magic Loop and it is, or Magic Circle, and it is my preferred method, I have chosen the chain method a couple of times. And so I'd like to give you some pros and cons for Magic Circle. So most of you know, I think maybe the biggest con is that it is not as easy to use or learn as chaining and forming a circle and doing stitches inside a circle made with chains. It is difficult to learn. Yarn also can be a con because you do have to cinch, tighten that circle. And depending on what yarn that you use, then cinching that circle can strip the fibers off the yarn, or if you're using the really curly boucle kind of yarn, then it's really hard to tighten the circle. And that is what Magic Circle is all about, being able to really tighten that circle up. That being said, Magic Circle does come loose if you don't weave in the ends really well. Now, I will say, if you weave in those ends properly, if you weave them in really well, it doesn't come loose. Or using the double Magic Circle as well. I am going to, at the end of this video, just to let you know, do a tutorial on the Magic Circle and the double Magic Circle, not for tutorial sake because there's a lot out there, but just to show you how I hold the yarn, and maybe give you some encouragement. So anyway, those are some of the cons for doing magic circle. So the pros, though, is that you can tighten that loop no matter how many stitches. Okay, there's probably a limit if you're going to do 50 stitches in a circle, but you can really tighten up the hole in that circle. This hat has puff stitches in the middle there, right there, and I have really been able to close up that circle so well. So you can get more stitches in and still tighten that circle up till it is closed. I think it's easier to see the middle of the circle. I have chained 4 and 5 and then closed it up and then really had to stretch my stitches out to try to find the middle of all those chains, that ring of chains. And I think with a magic circle, it's easier to see the middle of the circle. And actually a pro is that practice can, well, for me, not necessarily make perfect, but can make it a whole lot easier. Now, there is a reason that I would choose to chain over magic circle. And one of those reasons is if it is part of the design and the middle does not need to be closed up all the way. That is a good reason to pick the chaining method over magic circles. This project, I did not use magic circle for. As you can see, the center of it is open. And so it is actually a chain where you don't cinch it up and then you do stitches around that chain to get started because it is part of the design. I did not use magic circle for that project. And then my shawl that I used for Battle of the Stitches. So I started down here at that end right there, and I did not use magic circle for that one. But this one I did not because of how few stitches there were. There were actually only 2 stitches. And if you've seen my tutorial, you know I started out with a chain 2 and then in the first chain, I use single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So it's only got those 2 single crochet stitches in it. And I just thought going into the first chain with single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, kind of almost like a single crochet V-stitch, it would be much easier than doing magic circle and trying to find those stitches. And so I chose to chain 2 in to begin this shawl with. Choices is one reason, and pros and cons to learning the magic circle would be part of that. If you take time and learn it, even though, and because there are pros and cons, then if you know both methods, then you can choose what is the best for you, for the project, or for the fiber that you're using. The second reason I think that it's important to learn magic circle in particular, but to learn in our crafting, is growing in our crafting. Just because you learn something doesn't mean you have to use it yet. It gives you knowledge so that when others are talking about a particular technique or a particular technique is mentioned in the pattern, you know what it is, you know how it's done, and you can either do it, again, choices, or you can choose another similar method in place of it. And so I think it's so important to grow in the knowledge of the craft that you love. I love knitting. I love crocheting. I love that, and I want to learn as much as I can. I remember the first time I went into a local yarn shop. I I had been crocheting for a long time, but yet all I did was go to one of the big box stores, buy Red Heart, Lion brand, even Hobby Lobby's brand, Michael's brand, all of those things, buying the yarn, the 4-weight acrylic yarn, and making blankets. But I hadn't yet learned that there's more than just 4-weight, or worsted weight is the name of it. Uh, I didn't really learn about DK till I moved to South Africa, because DK weight is the more common weight of yarn there. And I didn't know about all the different fibers. So I go into this local yarn shop and I know nothing. And unfortunately, the lady there really didn't have time for my lack of knowledge of the craft. And it just left me leaving the shop feeling very not ignorant, but yet in a sense, yes, I didn't know enough to really hold a conversation, and she really wasn't in the mood to teach me everything there was to know about yarn. And so when I learned some more about it, and I learned the different weights, I learned some more about the fiber, I went in feeling again into that shop several months later, feeling more empowered, more able to talk about what kind of yarn I was looking for, and what kind of fiber, weight, all of that I wanted, what my next project was, even though I didn't mention it was a crochet project. But I was able to have a better conversation. She was able to better help me pick a yarn that would meet what I was looking for. And in a sense, I did feel empowered. But I also just loved knowing more about yarn and being able to hold a conversation about it with someone who was very knowledgeable. And so, whether knowledge makes me feel good or not, I truly believe that if I love the craft, then I want to learn all that I can about it. Learning doesn't mean I have to like it or I have to use it. But I will say that perseverance is also a great quality to have. So, choices and just learning more about the craft you love are two reasons why I think it is great. If you had never tried Magic Circle before, or if you've tried it and you just put it aside because it was so frustrating, maybe try it again. Give it a little bit of that perseverance and try it again. When I first tried Magic Loop or Magic Circle, I was really all thumbs. I actually watched Jada in Stitches. She calls it a cinch circle, which is a great name because you do cinch up the circle. But as great as her videos and tutorials are, I still was all thumbs. And people that have done it, they make it look so easy, and yet it was difficult. But I kept trying, um, and eventually I was able to do it, and I like it best. But I just because you're able to do it doesn't mean you still have to like it best. And I will say, I still think I'm a little awkward um, doing Magic Circle. But for me, then learning the double Magic Circle, which again took some time. First couple of times I tried it, I did not like it. I watched a couple of videos, and eventually I think you find the video that helps you learn and that really just clicks. And so I actually really love doing the double Magic circle for me. It's been a game changer as far as weaving in those ends and the center coming loose. So all that to say, I would love to show you how I do magic circle, magic ring, loop, cinch circle, whatever you want to call it, and the double one. So if you're ready, um, let's go do it. You got this. Okay, I am using peaches and cream. It is 100% cotton. It is a little bit splitty, but I thought the light color and using a 6mm hook would help you see it better. So let's get started. I'm going to call my left hand my non-dominant hand. My right hand is my dominant hand, or the hand holding the hook. So basically, the beginning of a magic circle is making a slip stitch, but not closing it. You can make your slip stitch any way you want. There are some people that make it, right on the table, and then they will pull their yarn through like that, and then tighten and make their circle. Some, like me, I use my hook to make it. Whichever way you make it, basically you are making a slip knot, and this is how I make mine, and not pulling it tight. Not doing that. Not pulling it tight. So I take the tail. The tail is here, and it's laying across my non-dominant hand. I go around my first two fingers and make a loop around. When I come to make the second loop, I cross over the first, and then I hold it with my ring finger, holding it down right there. I go under the first, grab the second, pull it through, but then I am not cinching it closed. I'm just leaving it through. Now I am, as you can see, twisting it just a little bit. And then I grab hold again of the yarn that was going across the first loop, go under, grab it, and pull it through that first loop. Now I can let go. And there is my circle, my magic circle. Now I've got a knot and a loop, and this is my working yarn coming off this side right here, and I am ready to begin making stitches inside that magic circle. You want to make sure you make stitches over the circle as well as over the yarn tail, okay, over two strands. So I'm going to make a single crochet first. So I just kind of pull, tighten it up a little bit. It doesn't need to be tight. You can tighten it later. To make a single crochet, I take my middle finger on my dominant hand that's holding the hook, and I hold that loop in place, and I make sure I'm pulling on the working yarn. I go, and I'm holding, as you can see, I am holding the circle with both thumbs, the ring finger on my dominant hand, the hook hand, and my middle finger, and I'm holding both the working yarn and the loop. You go in the circle, grab your working yarn, and pull it up. Now I take my middle finger that's holding the hook, and I hold on to both loops. I take my non-dominant hand and kind of hold it here on both the knot and the circle, just like that, just to keep it from slipping. Then I yarn over and I pull through both of those loops very slowly. Don't have to do this fast. And I have a single crochet. And now you can kind of pull them, push them together, pull on the yarn, tighten them up just a little bit. Now I'm going to make a double crochet. So I hold on with my thumb and middle finger of my non-dominant hand. I hold on to the knot, and in this case I'm holding on both the knot, the original knot, and the stitch I just made so that I can yarn over. My middle finger on the dominant hand holding the hook will hold both loops now that I have yarned over. Okay, you go, now I'm going to let go of that knot a little bit so I can go through the circle and grab the yarn and pull it up. I am kind of pulling on that circle a little bit to keep it taut. Now I have 3 loops on my circle, or on my hook, sorry. I'm going to move my thumb to hold on to the base of all 3 of those loops so I can yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, just like that. And then you'll see there's some gaps, so you can just squish them together, push them together, especially if you're going to make quite a few within this circle. So I'll do a double crochet again. So I yarn over, I'm keeping my finger here on those stitches I've made. I yarn over, now I'm going to move it so I can go through, pick up that yarn, and pull through again. I've actually let go of the circle with this hand because the more stitches you make, the less you have to really hold on to it. Now I am holding again to the base of those stitches, and I yarn over and I go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. And there you go. I will do one more. I'll do a single crochet. So for a single crochet, you don't yarn over. You just go through the circle. You pull up a loop. And now I'm going to kind of use my hands so that I can get my thumb down here at the base. Yarn over, pull through both loops, and then I can grab it and push them together, all that kind of good stuff. They look a little loose, but they will tighten up and come together as you cinch the circle. If it helps and you are not making like 15 or 20 loops, you can take the yarn tail and you can make that circle, make your circle smaller, and just make it smaller so it's easier to work with. All right, and then I'll make one more and I'll make another double crochet. That's probably part of this, why this is hanging so funny, because I'm doing single and double. But yarn over, go through the circle, make sure you go under both the circle and the yarn tail, pull up a loop, grab hold of the base, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then when you're ready and you've done all the stitches, you pull the circle tight. And then I turn it and make sure my yarn tail is out of the way, although you can work over your yarn tail. And then here is my first stitch right there. So then I can go under my first stitch. Hello. This yarn does split quite a bit, so I have to watch out for that. And do a slip stitch. And now I am ready to do the second round. All right. So I'm going to take that out and show you the double magic circle or magic ring. So starts out the same way with your yarn tail laying over your non-dominant hand, and we're going to make a loop around our first 2 fingers, but instead of crossing over, we're going to go around a second time. Hence the double magic circle. Then when you're going over the third time, that is when you cross over and hold it. So you should have 2 loops with one going across. Take your hook, go under both loops, grab the third loop and pull it up. And I pull up a little bit, make sure I got a good sized loop. Go back under that one that crossed over, pull another loop and pull it through. And you have a double magic circle. Now, when you make your stitches, you will go over both loops in that stitch and you will go over the yarn tail. So you're going over 3 stitches. So I'm going to do a few double crochets because it's exactly the same. So you just yarn over, go through the circle, and I'm always with my thumb holding on to that circle and kind of pulling on it. Pull up a loop. Now I move my thumb up a little bit to hold the base of those stitches. Pull through 2 without splitting the yarn. It's very splitty. There we go. And pull through 2 again. Yarn over, go through the middle, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and if you need to, take this hand. If you start feeling out of control, take this hand, hold those loops, and readjust this hand to where you need it to be. Pull through 2 and pull through 2. I like it to be at the bottom holding my stitches, especially the last stitch I've made. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more. Yarn over, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, yarn over, go through the circle, pull up a loop. Now, my thumb is way down here. I need to bring it back up again. So just so that I don't lose those loops, I'm using my middle finger, my ring finger to hold on to those so I can move my thumb to the base of those stitches, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Okay, I'm going to make just those right there. I've got 5 stitches, and now I'm going to cinch my circle. So the key, some people leave their yarns kind of twisted. I like to pull my yarn tail out, but I always watch. I'm going to pull on one of the loops and see what cinches. It's either going to be my yarn tail or it's going to be the other loop. I want it to be the other loop that cinches first. So I'm going to just pick one. I'm going to pick this one and I'm going to pull, and it is actually, as you can see, that is getting smaller. Now, if I had picked this one, you will see it's harder to pull and nothing is really moving. My yarn tail might move, but nothing's really moving. So if you pick the wrong one at first, it's okay. Just if it's not moving or if your yarn tail moves, then pick the other one until that one closes and pull it as tight as you can. Then take your yarn tail and pull it tight. And there you go. And the nice thing about the double is that it doesn't come loose. Yes, you still need to weave your yarn tails in, but this keeps it from opening back up again. And you can weave it the 3 times back and forth, the 3 times, and you can be assured it will stay closed. So there you go. I hope that helps. I hope that gave you a little bit of encouragement and that, like me, you do see that having the choice to do magic circle or the chain method is a good thing, and that just having that knowledge of how to do it is also a really good thing if you love crochet, knit, as much as I do. As always, I do want to leave you with a verse. The first one, I'm actually going to leave you with two. The first one is from Psalm 119, and it says this. It's actually verses 97 to 99, and it says, "Oh, how I love your law. It is my meditation all the day. Your commandment makes me wiser than my enemies, for it is ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation." And then Second Timothy, it's chapter 3, verses 16 and 17. It says, "All scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness," in your relationship with God, "that the man of God or woman of God may be complete, equipped for every good work." You know, as I said, because I love crochet, knitting, fiber arts, I want to know, gain knowledge, and know as much about it as I can. Well, I love the Lord. And of course, I want to know as much about Him as I can. And He's given us His Word that is all about Him and all about the best way for us to live in the world that He created. Um, Anybody who makes anything, like my phone that I am video off of, Apple knows the best way for me to use my phone and what is not the best way. And in God's Word, we find that as well. He created the world. He knows the best way for us to live in it. And as I said, His Word is all about Him. We may not understand everything that we read, but His Word is living and active. And if we persevere, we will learn more and more about Him and how He would want us to live in His world, and He will equip us, as it said in Second Timothy, for every good work, for everything that He calls us to do. So, if it is confusing, pray, ask God to help you, or be patient for His timing for what He wants you to know. Read trusted theologians, ask knowledgeable pastors or teachers, but ask God, because His Spirit is how we learn. He teaches us. Jesus sent His Spirit when He returned to the Father to help us, to guide us, and to teach us. So keep persevering, keep pursuing. And if you would like to join me for Bible study, February 1st, I'm starting a year-long New Testament reading. You can go to Instagram and direct message me, send me a DM over there, and let me know if you're interested in joining. We'll just have chapters that we would read during the week, and then just make comments on what God is teaching us about Himself and about how we should live. So if you're interested, go over to Instagram, leave it to Stitches, and send me a direct message there. So there are some great tutorials for Magic Circle. Mine is not it, is the one that's going to magically help you with it. Go find the tutorial that will. There's a lot out there, so go check them out. But I do hope that this video and my tutorial does encourage you to not only give Magic Circle or double Magic Circle a try, but that it encourages you to continue to grow and learn in the craft that you love. So again, thanks for stopping by. As I always say, every one of you who subscribes, views, gives a thumbs up or not, you all do bring me a lot of joy, and I hope you have a wonderful day crafting. Bye.